What is poppin', YouTube? It's Sydney Island here. That's Island with the Y, not an S. And today we're going to be talking about the depression of a Virgo. Yes, I am redoing this video because the one that I did film, the sound was trash. It was really low and you couldn't hear anything that I was saying. So I'm redoing the video. Here we go. Okay. And before I get into it, I just want to say that I always try to see the positive in everything. So I just have to make the assumption that this video is going to be 10 times better than the last. And that's why God made the previous video get jacked up, because maybe it just wasn't as good as I could have made it. So here I am making the depression of a Virgo again, and it's going to be better. Okay, so the depression of a Virgo. What are Virgos like when they are depressed? How do they behave when they go through a depression? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. How do you deal with your depression, Virgo? How do you get over it? Okay, so Virgo is a mutable sign. It is an earth sign. Virgos can be very stubborn. I know Tauruses have a reputation of being stubborn, and we can be. Yes, I'm a Taurus. Yeah, we can be stubborn. But Virgos have their own bit of stubbornness. So when a Virgo goes through depression, sometimes they cling to their depression, right? Sometimes they get comfortable with their depression and they don't want to let it go. Virgos, I wouldn't say Virgos necessarily have a hard time letting go, because Virgos, like, if they don't like you, they'll let you go real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, Virgos are not the sign that necessarily clings to a partner or a lover or a situation or whatever. But when it comes to depression, Virgos, it's harder for them to detach from that. Sometimes depression can be a little comfort bubble for Virgos. Um, Initially, when they're younger, they kind of just they don't understand like why they're depressed. They just are depressed. A lot of Virgos deal with depression at a very young age. Like, they start depression off at a very young age, like as young as, being in middle school or younger. Like, Virgos are prone to depression because Virgos are naturally pessimistic and negative. Of course, not all Virgos are going to be this way. It also depends on what's in your birth chart. If you're a Virgo with, let's say, a Sagittarius moon, you're going to be a little bit more upbeat and a little bit more positive, right? You're going to be more of a go-getter. But a Virgo who has a lot of Virgo or a lot of Earth in their chart is going to be more prone to depression. Um, because it's easier for fire signs and air signs, which are the masculine signs, to kickstart things and to just get out of things and to jump out, but earth signs and water signs, more feminine signs, they internalize their feelings. They we internalize our freaking feelings, okay? And we don't open up um, very easily. And Virgos definitely don't. And so this can also aid in the depression of a Virgo, is that Virgos don't open up about their depression too often, because Virgos have trust issues and they are afraid of being vulnerable. They don't like being vulnerable. They don't like showing the soft, sensitive, emotional side of themselves too often. They'll show it to people that they really trust, but this is not something that they're going to do too often. Virgos, you should seek therapy. Of course, therapy doesn't work for everybody, but I've gone to therapy during my depressive times in my life, and it really did help. I'm not going to put on the front. The first time I went to therapy, it was not that good. The second time I went to therapy and I had a different therapist, it was great, and I'm so glad that I went. So Virgos, you're really good with words. You're really smart, so you can communicate really well to a therapist what's going on with you. Virgos, I also think it's very important for you to have a confidant, because Virgos are like chill, down to earth people, and they need the normal thing that people need, which is at least one or two confidants, at least one or two people that they can confess their heart to. Virgos, they can be complex minded, but from my experience having two Virgo sisters, I think Virgos are not Virgos are complex and complicated, but I don't think it's so hard to get a Virgo to see something from a certain perspective. You know what I mean? Like, Virgos can be stubborn, yes, but they also are very understanding, and they're very understanding of reality in the real world. They consider themselves to be realists, which oftentimes they are. Virgos are very realistic people, and this is part of the reason why they go through their depression, because they see reality for what it is, which can sometimes be depressing. It can sometimes be negative, with everything happening with the BLM movement, and the racism and the hatred and the discrimination and the sexism and all this type of stuff. Like, Virgos see it all. They see all the negativity happening on the planet, and they see it a little bit more, like they see it in closer detail than the average person. They see the nitty gritty, dirty, nasty details of reality. It's just the way that they were made. It's just the way that their mind was made. Especially a Virgo who has a Mercury in Virgo, because your Mercury sign is how you perceive the world around you and what you pick up on and how you communicate. So, like, if you also have a Virgo Mercury, you're gonna consider yourself to be like a true realist, and you're gonna see all the ugly, details, and it'll come natural to you to pick up on all the BS that's happening in the world. You can just pick up on all the BS, man. Like, Virgos, it's hard for them to not see, like, a narcissist BS. Like, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to manipulate a Virgo, just because, like, they have this BS filter. But anyways, we're talking about depression. Virgos can be very pessimistic. They can just have a very negative, pessimistic view on life. And sometimes Virgos wonder, like, why am I like this? Like, how come I always see the negative in everything? How come I can't be more positive? Like, what's wrong with me? I've known a lot of Virgos who kind of had that mentality. Some Virgos are fine with being negative. Like, some Virgos are just like, this is the way it is, deal with it. But deep down inside, I don't think the Virgos really like being so negative. It's just the way that they naturally are. And this makes them depressed, because they're like, man, like, how come I can't just see the good in the world? How come I can't just be more positive? Like, that would make me so much more happy. But Virgo's depression, it just stems from just being able to see negative shit. For example, let's say a Virgo was invited to a party, and the person was super nice about it. It was like, yo, Virgo, I'm gonna invite you to the party. It's gonna be super fun. We're gonna have bubbles, and we're gonna have, candy and chips, and it's gonna be a great time. And Virgo, in the back of Virgo's mind, they're like, bubbles, chips, candy, like, that sounds boring. Like, this is not going to be a fun party. Like, this is going to be so boring. And Virgo's immediate reaction is like, that's going to be lame. Like, I'm not going to have any fun. And when they do go to the party, they're like, the music is trash. Like, I don't even like anybody here. Like, I don't know why I'm here. I hate parties. Like, Virgos can be kind of like, they just see the negative in their environment. And of course, if you're always picking up on the things you don't like, then you're gonna feel depressed. And I'm not saying all Virgos are like this, but Virgos are just prone to seeing the things in their environment that they don't like, because Virgos are natural fixers, right? They're also very picky and can be very anal about things, right? So Virgos sometimes may create a problem so that they can fix it. Because Virgos feel uncomfortable and awkward when they don't have something to fix, when they don't have a problem to solve. So Virgos do well doing crossword puzzles and word searches and Sudoku puzzles and that kind of thing. And they will do well in jobs where they're solving a problem or fixing something. Also, since Virgo rules the intestines and the digestive system and the stomach, a lot of their negativity, and their worry, because Virgos are natural worriers, they worry a lot, that a lot of times it manifests as digestive issues. It manifests as stomach pain and nausea. This is things that Virgos are more prone to. They're prone to serious stomach issues and intestines issues, and a lot of times it comes from their negative perspective on life, and it comes from their their intense anxious nature sometimes. Like, Virgos can be very worrisome, and they worry about things that they can't control sometimes. Before a Virgo takes a trip to go somewhere, for example, they're going to think about, like, the worst thing that could happen. Virgos have a serious case of worst case scenario brain. They see the worst in things, and they don't like it. They want to be able to just go out and have fun like a Sagittarius. but their brain just, it makes them say, well, what if this bad thing happens, or what if that bad thing happens, and they can see the darkness in situations. But of course, this is not every Virgo. This is just a more depressed Virgo. And when a Virgo is depressed, it's just hard for them to just do things, because they just feel kind of like, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to enjoy myself. And of course, if you're in a depressive mindset, you're not going to enjoy yourself, you know? What else about Virgos? Virgos also can fall into a depression when they feel unappreciated. Virgos do try a lot, and they put a lot of effort into their relationships, with their family, friends, partners. They are natural caretakers, and like natural nurses and caregivers, and oftentimes people take advantage of that and they don't notice it. And this makes a Virgo depressed. This definitely makes a Virgo depressed, because I just want to be appreciated. Virgos really do want to be appreciated because they really do try, they really do give. It's just in their nature to do that. And they also want to be heard. Virgos want to be heard, and they want to be understood. And a lot of times their depression manifests from feeling misunderstood, and feeling like people just don't get them, and people don't get why they're so negative, and people don't get why they see reality the way they see it. And so Virgos a lot of times spend time trying to explain themselves and try to explain why they think the way they do, and try to explain their perspective on life. And they just like trying to get you to see, this is why I am the way I am. Like, just accept me, you know what I'm saying? And Virgos can sometimes feel misunderstood, just because they feel like this is just how life is. How come y'all can't see it? You know what I mean? Like, and especially when they're around people who are like more naive and they're not very deep, they kind of feel like, well, why can't you tell that that person is full of crap? Why can't you tell that this job is not a good job to be at? Like, why can't, you know what I mean? And Virgos are always going to be able to tell, like, why things are like not right, or like why a job isn't good for you, or why that friend is draining your energy. Like, Virgos can see all of that, and they give advice to their friends, and they do all these kind things, and they see things for what it is, and they're like, you know, it's getting darker, as you can see. People just like sometimes don't listen. Like, sometimes they're just like, okay, you're just being negative, you just like whatever. So then they go on and they do what they want to do, because they feel that Virgos is just being negative. And I'm definitely guilty of this. Having two Virgo sisters, like sometimes I feel like Virgos do a little too much, just like pushing and pressing a little too much, because they just really want to help. They say that they just really want to help, which I get it. I think they do want to help, but it's just like sometimes it's like, if a person isn't changing and you feel like the person that you keep trying to save, if they keep doing the same negative thing over and over again, you have to just let them learn the lesson that they need to learn. Okay? The depression of a Virgo, I would say it can last for a long time. But I definitely feel that Virgos know how to get out of their depression if they really want to. Some Virgos don't want to. Like, some Virgos can be so comfortable in sadness, that they don't want to get out of it. Virgos can throw pity parties. They really want you to join in on that depression. But once they mature, they'll realize that just, it doesn't work. Throwing pity parties, hating on your life, being negative about everything. Once they get older, they realize that it don't really work. Man, it's getting dark. I freaking hate it. We need some more light up in this mug. When Virgos are depressed, sometimes it can be hard to be around because they, like I said, they see the negative in everything. Well, I believe that's all that I have. If there's anything else I left out, which is like, you could talk about this forever, but I have to end the video sometime. So, I hope that y'all enjoy this. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I do private birth chart readings, so if you're interested in getting one of those read, just email me. My email will be in the description box below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.